Listening to the comments about the tier list for Millertime just cracked me up knowing that I was releasing this today. Anyway, without further ado.
The court is in session.
Welcome to WROL Broadcast. This is the Court of Owls, and we are doing our October tier list. And we will touch briefly on the November characters, but because we've only had a minimal amount of time to play, we're not going to get too deep into them. I know this is a little later than you guys are used to, but because Siege ended later, we had to start it later. So with that, let's go ahead and start. So we'll start with Beast Boy today. And we have our usual cast of characters, Loot, M4, Sheriff Lobo, and Kage. And Fries was going to come on this one, but apparently he decided not to. So let's start with Beast Boy, which I guess we're only going to briefly talk on quickly. I like him. I think he's B, borderline A, but I mean, huge improvement from his D. I think temporarily I'd give him a B. Kage, your thoughts real quick? I'll just touch on these briefly.
His kit doesn't seem anything unique outside of Castaway. Probably B.
And Loot, your thoughts?
I gave him a 3.5. What is that?
It's a B, borderline
It's a
A.
B.
He's a B.
M4?
Yeah, same deal. I like the consistency on the buff immunity, so that's a big plus for him.
Yeah, I really like the buff immunity. Sheriff Lobo?
B. I agree with what you all have said.
Okay, so we'll upgrade him to a B for now until we've had a full month to play with him. Next one is a big one, Cyborg Superman. I'm really torn on him if I want to give him an A or an S. I think I'd probably go A now, but I could see the case for S. How about you, Kage?
He's really good now. My only issue that keeps him from being an S tier is he's not doing a whole lot for the team. He's just kind of there. He soaks up hits and he kills reds. So, solid A.
Loot?
I give him an A. I think because his leader skill, in my opinion, really sucks. That's why I can't make him an S. He's got a whole skill that I'll never use.
M4?
He's almost there. The only thing that's holding him back from being an S is it takes a while for his boulder to be available, but he's so close. No blue can one-shot him, and he's a nightmare for reds.
Yeah, he's really good. Sheriff Lobo?
I think I'll give him an S. Looking at like our other S's, I think he kind of fits with some of the ones that maybe aren't as good. I get that he really doesn't do a lot for the team, but surviving blues, his survivability is really awesome. And then he's great against like Barda and Man-Bat and
Bane.
with his
He's
Bane.
awesome versus Barda.
Bane, he doesn't even care if he has crit immunity. He just throws a rock and he dies.
He's close. He's really close.
Yeah, I'm torn on him. I really want to give him an S, but then there's some matches where I just don't feel like if you're not facing one of those characters, I don't feel like he brings a lot to the match. Where other characters.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's not an S tier though.
No, it's true. I mean, I don't know.
His can't miss is really awesome, and his laser beam eyes with those crit downs, they can kind of, if you don't have anybody that you want to destroy immediately, you can reduce their damage with those crit downs.
And
so.
he takes care of Power Girl with those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe I changed mine to S.
But, I mean, there is a whole skill that you're not using.
But he didn't even need it. That's how good he is. And if you're not running any other leader, you can.
But it's
throw
such
him
a
in there.
waste.
Yeah.
That's why he can't be S tier.
Well, Deadshot Suicide Squad, he doesn't have a usable leadership, but he's pretty good. He's a high A.
Right, a high A.
Oh, Wait. Let's talk. If we want to go by that logic, the other Deadshot, his 2 sucks. Nobody uses it.
I don't think
But
he's S tier.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
then-
come on.
all
How
right.
can Higher Gun Deadshot not be S tier? I mean, he carries teams, especially for lower level people.
I
Talent is
know.
carried by Deadshot.
And I don't think his leader is useless. There are a lot better leaders, but if I used him as leader sometimes in Siege. And
Yeah,
Right.
if you want to run characters that don't have leadership, at least he has a leader that's actually decent. I mean, it's good for him. It's not good for anybody else, but
I don't know.
it's a
I'm
selfish
still
interest.
sticking with an A. You guys can override me and just make him an S.
Well, he is an S.
Does he hit
Now.
the S threshold?
Yeah, we did because it's.
He does? Okay.
Yeah, he does.
He does, the math makes him an S.
Yeah,
Alright.
Okay.
because more
Well, then
people voted 4.5.
Okay, well,
All right, I think he's borderline. I mean, he's not
Yeah.
the top of
He's-
the S chart, but he's
I think he's if he's gonna be S, he's at the lowest of the S chart.
Maybe.
moving on. Let's do Eclipso. I personally had him as an A because we have Harley Quinn, Mad Jester as an A, and I feel like they're similar, but they do kind of slightly different things.
He is better at enraging. I don't know why. That 10% feels like more.
Yeah, so I
I
would
u-
I would put him as an A. I'm 4. Well, we'll move to you first since you're.
I'm gonna stick with my 3.5 because he's easier to counter than Harley.
Yeah.
He doesn't do that int downs, the 3 int downs for everyone, which is like amazing. And he doesn't have as much sustain as Harley. Harley's impossible. If you miss her, say goodbye. You're never gonna hit her again.
Yeah. I mean, the hit chance down helps the team better. That's why I kind of kept him as an A personally. Sheriff Lobo, what do you think?
I think he's a B. I actually have him as a B minus. I agree with what M4 said. You kind of have to either be facing the right team with know-how or hired gun Deadshot, or you have to give him a lot of help with like Scarecrow or Batgirl or
Batman Beyond.
Beyond. He's not really a plug and play.
He's not.
I mean, so I think Harley does a lot better at what she does than Eclipso. So
How about you,
He's-
Sergey?
I'm gonna go with Sheriff's train of thought because I think he's on par with Harley with a lot of things, but what annoyed me is that he doesn't gain the turn meter, and he doesn't hit as hard when he retaliates
Yeah, he
like Harley does. So it's kind of like a B plus for me, A minus.
Luke, I see you have a lot lower score than the rest of us.
I hate him. I think he's terrible. I gave him a solid C. 2.0. He offers me nothing. His evasions, basically, they just don't work for me.
I think that's
if
why I
you
like
hit
him. He
my
dodged more than
Eclipso-
my Harley ever does.
He dies immediately. If you look at him, he dies. It's really stupid.
Yeah, Deadshot. If you're running against a Deadshot team, which is like half the boards, he's gone.
He's dead.
Yeah. Well, he's like the epitome of a B tier. He needs help, but once he gets the help that he needs, he's awesome. So I use him with Mr. Freeze and Donna Troy, so he can enrage almost every turn, and the enemy teams just always enrage, and they just get assisted and slowed down by Mr. Freeze. It's wonderful. But if
That's
you're gonna
actually a
use,
really good idea. That's a solid comp. I did not run that comp, but I can tell you I really don't like him.
yeah, it's so much fun. But he's not a plug and play like Harley.
Not a
He's-
plug and play.
No.
And not only that, you can't, even though he's like sort of a knockoff of Harley Quinn, he's nowhere near as good as Harley Quinn. Like, not even remotely close. So,
Well, he's still a B loot. Everyone voted for B.
Yeah, he's a B.
all right, trash tier.
Well, next on our list, and I don't know how Doombox keeps getting in our stuff, is Etrigan.
He even uses Etrigan anyways. He's not even that good.
which I have, after watching Kage play on Talon when we were doing all those videos for that episode, Etrigan, solid S tier for me. Kage,
S tier. I don't know what he's smoking.
Loot.
S tier for Etrigan? I give an A.
M4,
S tier because of the true damage.
and Sheriff.
Yes.
And just to get it out of the way, because, people thought that being able to remove buffs would be more important with Red Hood in town now, is Blue Beetle, which I just don't see any reason to bring him over Wonder Girl for stripping those buffs. So big old
Blue
F.
Beetle?
Big old F.
He's not even an F, man. He's trash tier.
How about
He's
you, Kage?
below F. He is T. Trash. Anybody that would rebirth him is absolutely crazy.
Kage.
F tier.
And M4.
F tier.
And Sheriff Lobo.
Yeah.
All right, so moving right along.
What was that? He was just like, yeah.
And moving on. John Constantine, Hellblazer. We've had him as an A, but after Siege, he's scary to face and he's pretty darn good. I still don't know if I'd put him S tier. I'm still on the A tier personally, I think. Loot, let's start with you this time.
I think Constantine's a solid A. I would not make him an S, only because I think he's way better on defense than he is on offense. So, I don't know what to be, and he might be better at lower level players.
I
But
don't
if
really
we're
see them use him
talking-
much, though, personally.
I mean, end game PvP, for me, he's an A.
How about you,
Well,
M4?
Well, we used him for 3 weeks,
Yeah.
like 6 weeks in the past 2 months. But I've grown to appreciate him more as an off-lead character, because on offense, he's not a leader. Because I don't want to die in Siege, so I've never used him as a leader. Well, unless I had to. But his assists and the in town is crucial for containing Cyborg Superman. That's why I appreciated him last Siege. Still solid A. Not quite S tier.
How about you, Kage?
Yeah, he's him kind of cock blocking my Cyborg Superman the whole siege. That was really annoying. So, but he's still an A tier. He's not doing something too crazy or too broken like he was on release, but really solid.
All right, moving on. We'll touch on her briefly. We'll do Ravager Rose. I'm warming up to her right now. I think I'd put her as a B, a high B, but I'm starting to appreciate her a little more and a little more as we play. So I may move her up later on. Kage, I know you like her a lot.
I really do. I was having a conversation with M4 earlier. My thoughts on her is she's around A or B, but I still need to unlock her full kit to really give her an assessment. So,
Yeah, I think she needs like L4, L5 to really be
yeah.
So-
solid.
So
And
as part of
I've
chatting with Kage earlier, as he mentioned. So I think the biggest problem with Rose is not her kit. It's fine. The problem is she is her best enabler, and her speed is 103. So she can do that AoE that can silence the enemy team. But before she can do that, everyone already went. So if there's someone who can silence better than her, then her stock would rise. But her kit is great. It synergizes with itself very well.
What would be cool is a character that can purge buffs and then silence at the same time. That would make her crazy.
That would be really good.
That's my issue with her is her whole kit's based on silence, and she does not enable herself. It takes too long.
Yeah.
And she can't get help. Damien is her kind of best friend this siege.
Who's her best friend?
Damien
Rob?
Oh, Damien. Okay.
for the siege.
I guess we'll figure that out as the month goes on.
Yeah.
See where she's at.
Yep,
And
I
Sheriff
agree.
Lobo, do you have a opinion on her yet?
I've played with her some, and she just seems really inconsistent for me. Sometimes she'll be awesome, and then sometimes it just doesn't happen. So I don't know. Play with her some more. Right now, it's probably a low B.
Okay. All right, moving on. Let's talk about the other Siege tune, Raven. I have not changed my opinion at all. I'm thinking a D is still where I have her.
D is a very apt description of Raven.
Yeah.
You would think that passive with reducing the affinity damage would be great, but
Yeah.
it translates to nothing special.
I really wish they would significantly boost up affinity resistance. Because right now I feel like it's just underpowered.
What they really need to do is make an affinity resistance for the one you're weak against, not the one you're strong against.
Yeah,
If they can do something like that,
Then she would suddenly catapult to A tier.
right? Because I only used her last siege during Revenges.
I used her a little more than that because her basic did a lot of damage, and there was so many Hal Jordan teams, she would kill them at a decent clip, but I didn't, other than that, I never used her. Sheriff Lobo?
I don't know. I rated her a C, and I think that's maybe because I want to like her more than I really do.
She looks cool.
Yes, I think she's a really cool character, and I really want to like her and play with her, so maybe I'm ranking her higher than she deserves. But I actually did use her quite a bit in Siege, so I would use Constantine, Grundy, Raven, and then I would use Constantine and put a taunt on Grundy, and then Raven overheal Grundy, so that would help. And then sometimes she would pull his debuff off and then do a bunch of retaliation. So she was kind of helpful to me in Siege, but I don't think I would. Actually, I do use her sometimes, but just for the fun of it, she doesn't really add anything. So she's not great, but I kind of like her.
Raven has sciences, so I might play with Raven and Ravager a little later. See what I can come up
I
with.
experimented with it a little bit. The problem is she just dies so fast.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I was experimenting with all kinds of silence teams, and I was struggling with that one. All right, let's move on to the King of the Month, Red Hood. I've moved to, I know this is brief talking about, but I think that's the character we've played most with that's been reworked, and Red Hood is just amazing now. I'm voting S tier this early on. I mean, he stands up there with the best leaders of the game now.
Yeah, he was always one of the best leaders. He didn't have a lot that was knocking him from S tier, but I think with the changes, making it a guaranteed heal immunity with all his attacks now,
Yeah.
he's the best bleeder and best heal immunity character in the game.
Really solid bleeder.
I mean, just ridiculous.
I think he's now better than Manta. You don't even need Manta anymore.
No.
I'd say he's definitely S tier. I gave him a 5.
Yeah, S tier.
I should change my vote. No, it's
How about you, Sheriff Lobo?
I'm giving him an S for sure.
Okay, so that's... Moving on, let's go on to Riddler. I see we had him as C tier before. I'm not feeling it. I'm still C tier, personally. How about you, Kage?
I like him because he fits my playstyle a lot. I like to use his debuffs to soften up targets and take him out with my other characters. But I can see he's just really niche. He needs a little bit of help. He's a little niche. I want to put him as a B. I think he's probably around B minus, C plus. But I'm not gonna go out of my way to make him any higher than that.
Well, my problem with him was that I would play with him and he just
Dies?
Well, he just dies, and I just never seemed... I felt like every time I used him, I was always at a disadvantage. I think I used him less last Siege than any other character.
Really? I use him a lot.
I didn't use him at all.
I use him a lot.
And,
He's good.
I mean...
Yeah.
Who was world's finest, so... No.
He'd actually... he countered... No, funny enough, he countered Cyborg... Okay, I'll tell you a story.
Yeah, he does.
I was doing a revenge match versus a Batgirl team. It was an all-red Batgirl team with Riddler. And I thought just bringing in Cyborg Superman would be enough. And I was wrong. Batgirl kept calling assists with Riddler. Riddler kept slapping my Cyborg Superman around, and then my Cyborg Superman was just doing like 0 damage.
Yeah, I mean that's where I think I didn't put him a D. I think
Right.
he's a solid C, maybe B. I'm not sure. How about you, Lou? What do you think?
I can't rate him. I only have an R5 Riddler.
Oh, okay, so we won't. Sheriff Lobo, because I know M4 likes him a lot more than you.
I have a B minus, and I might even go with the C. I don't think that he was not real useful for me. Maybe I just not smart enough to figure out how to get him to work. But it seems like if there was a Riddler on the other team and I had a Riddler, the other Riddler would do. I don't know. I just couldn't get him to work, and even with like Booster and Riddler, that would not work for me sometimes, taking out Constantine. So I'm not big on Riddler. Don't like him.
One of my biggest issues with Riddler is that he can apply a taunt and gives himself true sight. But what's he going to do with that true sight?
It's backwards. It should be his 3 that does it, so he can apply the taunt to someone who's not already taunting. That's the biggest knock on his kit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, he's great. So I have the similar story to Kage, but this time it's 1-on-1. My CSM versus Riddler. So same thought with Kage. I thought I can just go in. So I wiped out the other reds, and then it's CSM versus Riddler 1-on-1. I can barely move, and when I move, I get to 0 damage. I don't know how I won. I put it on auto, looked at it, and then after a few, 30 minutes or so, I won. I don't know how. So there was on Reddit like a poll on who would be the best 1-on-1 tune. And I think consensus was Batman Beyond. I
There's like
think
a
Riddler
ton of
would...
background noise on somebody. I'm trying to figure out who it is, but I can't tell.
Okay.
It's like somebody's whipping things and using
Maybe.
bathrooms.
Okay. That's not me.
I think it's Lou, but I can't tell.
Okay. All right. So...
No, I'm not whipping anything.
Okay, I didn't hear whap, whap, whap.
That's not me.
Fap, fap, fap. Anyway, so back to Riddler. So I think he's the best 1-on-1 tune. If he goes first, you'll never move. Or if you get a move, you'll have no agility, no intellect, and he's like fast. He just needs a lot of setup. But once you get him working, he's one of the best tunes. I'd liked him for so long. But I agree, he's like a B or C.
I think
'Cause it's hard to make him
has
work.
them just at C.
Yeah, I get it.
We'll leave him at C, I guess.
Yep, I get it. He's hard to use.
Which I think kind of fits the narrative of a C, where he needs specific scenarios and all that. So, all right. So moving on, Silver Banshee. So we have her listed right now as a B. Might move her up a hair. I mean, she's borderline BA. She's pretty good, especially there's certain teams especially with the Red Hood rework, she fits really, really well with him. So I fought a team, I think it was 2D-Trons or somebody's. I can't remember who it was. It had Silver Banshee, and man,
It was OC3.
oh, it was
You lost
OC3. Yeah, that Silver Banshee was nasty. Thankfully, it wasn't Siege, but
I'm
Kage.
torn. I'm torn because if you run up against, let's say, Etrigan, Black Adam, Larfleeze, she can turn the match around if you start losing, but it's kind of RNG.
I do
I
like her
think-
stun immunity too. That
Yeah.
was useful last Siege.
Yeah, that's very useful. She's got a really good kit.
She's still very
It's-
squishy though.
That's her knock. Is she's squishy. She needs that invisibility. It's really composition heavy to make her really shine. But I just don't see her being super plug and play.
Yeah. How about you, Luke?
I would say she is a B. I gave her a 3. She seems better than she used to be, but she's not good enough to be an A.
Amor?
She's a solid B. Most people are enamored with her, the free AOE, but I think it's the weakest part of her kit. So, I mean, you can trigger it easier now, but then the payoff is not that great, right? Her AOE doesn't hit that hard. Some other mystics would just do their AOE for free. You don't even have to do anything, right? And it hits hard. What she is, though, is a very good counter tune. So if you're facing a Larfleeze or Etrigan, you can bring her. So it mitigates that those ramp up tunes. And also, if you're facing someone's stun team,
Yes.
The crit, the crit immunity is just
Well,
fantastic.
let's talk about on defense though. On
Yes,
defense, you're gonna have to kill her first.
Correct.
She's a threat.
Yeah,
And if you have Ram,
she's definitely a long ways from where she was. They did a good rework with her. How about you,
Sheriff?
Lobo?
Be the tiebreaker, man. What do you think?
I'm gonna keep her as a B. Keep her as a 3. I actually like her better than Riddler. I think she's fun to play with, and you guys have covered, I think, everything that is important. Except maybe I do like her purge immunity. I like that skill a whole lot.
All right, moving on. Solomon Grundy. We'll start with you this time, Sheriff.
I think I had him as a C. He was useful in Siege, and I think he could be a whole lot better. He was a big pain to face, but outside of being a Siege bonus toon, never use him.
Yeah, kind of same boat. M4.
yeah, he's a solid C because he's kind of useful, but not in the current star system.
How about you, Loop?
I think I made him a D. I don't like revive tunes.
You
Right.
put him as a C on here.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
Gave him a 2. Is that a...
That's a.
Let's see.
I don't know what that is. M4.
It's
What
a
is
C.
it? Okay.
What's a 2?
That's a C.
Okay, so I made him a C. It sounds like I'm in the same game you guys are. Except I really hate revive tunes to the fact that, to me, they're somewhat beneficial in Siege, I guess, but in Wraith, they're completely useless. So, I don't know.
He's scary
I think
though
he needs a
sometimes in
rework.
defense.
I would think he would be a real powerhouse with, like, stamina ups.
But
Big Barda.
he's the
Like
only
Barda. Yeah, like a blue Barda.
Yeah,
The
he's a
only
weak.
Instead of a big butt Barda.
One thing good for him is he's the only tune that if he doesn't want to die, he's not gonna die.
I
If you
think
don't
your
have heal
headset
immunity.
came undone, M4, because
Oh,
now
is
you
it-
sound like you're on
is it-
speaker, and I keep hearing everything in the background.
Let's see. Now my earpiece.
Crystal
oh,
clear.
Now you're
Okay.
better.
Okay. Yeah, if he doesn't want to die, he won't die. I've had him revived like 10 times on me.
How about you, Kage?
He's There's nothing special about his kit. He's a hard-hitting blue, but he takes time to ramp up, and you want to keep hitting him. But if you keep hitting him, he runs the risk of dying, so it's kind of like a catch-22. I'd say he's a C.
And I'm gonna go with C as well. I almost want to put him as a D because he's sometimes somewhat useful.
I voted wrong. I wanted him a C. Okay, there you go.
All right, so we will keep him as a C. And
I
last,
can say I'd be really happy if they gave him another rework. I know they reworked him like almost 2 years ago, right?
I think M4. We hear you typing up a storm here.
That's
What was it,
not
like
me.
2 years ago?
Oh, somebody.
I'm not typing at all, by the
Oh,
way.
Kage then probably.
So was that like 2 years ago we got a rework?
Like drowning you guys out. So, whoever's typing can type at like 1,000 words a minute.
I was thinking today about his rework, and I kind of had some ideas that I thought might be cool. So like, I think he would be really awesome if he could start with like turn 1 taunt and then rage.
Ooh, now we're talking.
And,
Or
and,
turn
Ooh, that'd be
zero taunt.
scary.
and then
Like a
like they,
turn 0 taunter? That'd be awesome.
and
We
and then they
need
switch,
more turn 0 taunters.
and then they switch his 3 and his 1, so he'd be like a Supergirl and have an AOE basic. And then,
Ooh, I like that.
and then his third, his big hit, you could use like to get the enrage back after it wears off.
Ooh, that's a good week work.
And what about if every single thing that he did also gave him stamina ups?
Stamina or strength, though?
If he did everything else, though, he'd probably
Stamina.
be broken. I think they need to just adjust the star system to every man standing, and then you don't need the stamina ups as much. Just keep. I mean, because he'd be scary if he just always had taunt.
Yeah, but he does need like the stamina ups if you're gonna give him the taunts that he can just take the beating.
Or
He
crit
gets the
immunity.
agility up. He gets the agility up though, which isn't that
Or
useful.
crit immunity.
Yeah, crit immunity.
Or give him like 80,000 health. Make him the tankiest character in the game. Make him Ares leader, but not leader.
There it is. I couldn't find my multiple. And then how about last on the list? I'm gonna step out of that one because I haven't geared him yet. But Spectre, now that he's been got a slight adjustment,
Tweak.
got a slight tweak. Kage, you don't have him geared either, do you?
No.
Okay, so we'll let Loot, M4, and Sheriff. Sheriff, do you have him geared?
Nope.
Okay, so this will be a two-man race. We'll start with you, M4.
Okay, so he is useful when he was fixed, mostly through raids. But even in Siege, when you're facing shielded greens, he's probably the best one at punching under the shields. There's another Mystic that kind of does it, but he's kind of like lame. So he's kind of like the only Mystic that does it. And he does it well. And then if you get lucky, here's the problem with this kit. If he were like Etrigan that guarantees the int ups, he'd be A, maybe even S tier. The problem is his int ups are so RNG dependent, and that 60% it doesn't proc enough.
It's a huge missed opportunity.
Considering it's Spectre, right? I mean, he's like one of the strongest.
And his
PC heroes.
he looks cool. Like his animations are cool. I like what they actually did with the character. I like the rework of the rework. I like the rework that they did, or whatever they did. They tuned him or whatever. But he's so RNG based, so I have to give him a C. Before I was giving him an F. So to me, that F to C is a pretty big improvement.
Yeah, I mean, he's C, borderline B based on what I've seen.
Yeah, I'm like 2.5.
Yeah.
So maybe I just like him a little bit more because he was so good at the last raid.
He was great in the raids.
Yeah, definitely. One character I wanted to bring up that I didn't have a chance to add to the list. I don't know if you can add this real quick. M4
Sure.
is Man Bat, because I think we gave him an A, and I kind of feel like he deserves an S because he's the scariest character in the entire game to face.
It used to be until Cyborg Superman came out with the
Yeah, but even
shield.
then on the right team.
Okay, let's talk about him.
Yeah.
Let's see.
He's just one I want to talk about before we end.
Okay. All right, here you go.
I know you guys are high on Booster Gold too.
Oh, we forgot to add Booster. You got to put him on there.
Wait, I thought you were gonna have a separate for the S tiers.
Well, but for the October tier listing, we gotta
Okay.
move him to S to talk about him.
Sure. Okay, you're right.
Wait,
All right,
did you
so-
guys downgrade him last month?
Who?
Booster?
No, Booster was always an
No, he never got the S rating that he deserves.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what we were smoking. He should be an S tier.
A. So let's talk about Booster first then, because
Okay.
Okay, let me put in my new vote. Hold on.
okay. So
I'm going to give him a
Booster-
7.
Okay. So I think I'm the only one who has an RB3 booster, and that should tell you what my vote is on him.
You have an RB3 booster?
So we
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
and I took him to RB2 for my stun team, even though he's only a 50% stunner, which that says a lot because he only 50% stuns, and that was the reason we gave him an A because our original philosophy was 50% of the time he's only S, but that
He doesn't
matter.
have to.
He doesn't
Right.
have to. You just cast it on yourself, and then boom. I mean, that last siege, I won World's Finest because of Booster Gold. If I didn't have him, I would not have had a chance, because he is the solution to Constantine. He is the solution to every problem blue. He mangles them. So he's S
Right.
tier for me.
Right. He allows you to put up 18-point teams, which, right?
Yeah, consistently, without fear. Sheriff Lobo, what is your Booster Gold rating?
I think I voted him a S tier from the beginning. I'm
Okay, so you were smarter than we were.
I
That's why
know
you
you
win
did.
siege the most. So
I know that you had him as an S tier.
Kage,
I
are you a
think our
defender, or are you
argument
S
was
tier as well?
50% of the time he's like, oh my god, amazing. And the
Yeah.
other 50% of the time, he needs to be enabled.
Right.
But what I've learned through Siege is that's okay.
Yeah.
Because he can enable himself, and then he can take out a blue.
Well, and the other thing too is that there's so many matches where I fought bleeders or somebody else, so that being able to cleanse and give shield and true sight to other characters is so good.
Mhm.
I mean, I think he's probably the best physical in the game in my mind. I would even go that far. I can't
Yeah,
think
he-
of
I have
like-
enough
It'll
frags
be a-
to take
it'll
him
be a-
RB3.
It'll be a toss-up between him and Castaway. Those
Yeah.
two are so darn good.
Barda? Come on.
No.
Yeah.
If I had the frags, she would be RB5. She
I
is my
actually-
favorite tune in the game right now.
I never use her ever.
I don't use her a lot lately, but she's still my favorite character in the game.
I mean, I still think
And
she's
also-
very good, but
You gotta love that butt, man. Big butt.
I think Talia's got to beat.
yeah, I was gonna say Talia's filled that role. So
All right. So one last thing about Booster before we move on. One thing people forget about Booster is if you hit him, he gains turn meter. So I've been asked this like, what the hell? What did this Booster go next and killed my Constantine? Because you forget that he gains turn meter when he's hit.
I always forget
And
about that
resets.
too.
I
and
totally
he-
forgot about that. I
And
hadn't
we-
thought about that.
Right, because he's a problem red, and you don't want to hit him unless you can kill him, and he's impossible to kill because he's shielded and gains crit immunity and damage immunity. So
Yeah, he's so good.
yeah, we screwed up. He should have been S tier from the beginning.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's talk
I've ever
about
fought him
okay.
a few times. I think he's probably S.
so let's talk about Man Bat because I
Man,
just-
that.
I
let's
feel
see what
like
he is.
he's my new vote is S tier just because he is the scary. I mean, he's one of the scariest characters in the game to face. He so good. I mean, he takes forever to kill. Some of the similar arguments for Cyborg Superman that he can survive the heavy duty greens. The only ones that can kill him consistently are Low Fleas and Castaway Green Arrow and Rebirth 3 Killer Frost. But otherwise, he's especially on defense. I mean, I know I'm basing some of that on defense, but
Remember, we can't do that.
I know, but he's such a good character. So he's definitely borderline if he's not S. Well,
He's almost there for me.
how about you, Sheriff? What's your opinion on this
I
one?
think I got him at a 4.5, maybe. I'm going to keep that as well. He's definitely scary. I have a Cyborg Superman now, so I can take care of Man Bat pretty easily, and he's slow enough that you can take care of him.
Yeah, because I hated him when before Cyborg Superman's rework. I really hated Man Bat. I even said before I regretted not getting his gems, but then now there's so many ways to deal with him, and he's no longer the threat that he used to be when he came out. But he's still darn good. If you're facing him and you're ill prepared, you're gonna lose.
All right, Gege, be the tiebreaker.
I don't think he's that good. He carries teams, don't get me wrong. But I don't think he's S tier good. I don't think he's broken.
Why is that given S at 4.5?
Yeah, I mean we can't. 4.5 and up is S tier. We don't all
I thought
have
it
to
was 4.75.
agree.
All right, so
I changed
we'll
it.
keep him an A for now, but
Okay.
he's
'Cause
definitely close.
I changed it because you keep overriding me, so I just did what you were voting for an S.
I think once more disease characters come out, he could go up a bit.
Yeah.
Yes,
definitely.
agreed.
Okay, well, I think that is everybody. So we will, and for everybody listening, we've had numerous requests to go through our S tier list, so the podcast following this one will have that. So the characters we just went over that are S tier, we probably won't go over again, but we'll go over everybody else. So with that, we are signing off.
Hey everyone, it's Tootytron. Thank you for listening to WROL Broadcasts. If you like the show, consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/WROL Broadcasts. You guys think if I go out of my way next Siege to lose to Hate a bunch, that he might send me those dirty socks of his? I hope so.